But Baalbek, if there was one example, one ancient site on Earth that is evidence of a lost, ancient, advanced civilization, Baalbek has the largest stones that were ever quarried in human history, the largest stones that were lifted, stacked, and transported in human history, and the largest stone columns in all of classical history.
For 2,000 years, everyone has been looking at the wrong thing at Baalbek. The Roman columns get the photographs, the temples get the guidebook pages, the empire gets the credit. But what if the real mystery is not who moved these stones, but how they were cut in the first place? Because a team of researchers just pointed state-of-the-art 3D scanning equipment at the Trilithon megaliths, and what came back changed everything. Zero chisel marks, molecular-level surface smoothness, geometric precision that no hand tool, no ancient saw, no Bronze Age technology could physically produce. And the implications are so disturbing that several engineers on the team refused to put their names on the preliminary findings. Welcome to Baalbek, and nothing here is what it seems. In Lebanon's Bekaa Valley sits a Roman temple complex that attracts visitors from around the world. They come to admire the 6 remaining columns of the Temple of Jupiter, snap their photos, read about Roman engineering prowess, and leave believing they have witnessed another impressive ruin from the glory days of the empire. But here is the thing. They are looking at the wrong thing entirely. Beneath those Roman columns, underneath the temples that dominate every guidebook, there is a foundation that defies everything we think we know about ancient construction. We're talking about stone blocks weighing up to 1,650 tons. That is heavier than 3 fully loaded 747 jumbo jets stacked together. And these are not rough boulders hauled into place. They are precision-cut rectangular megaliths, fitted so perfectly that a sheet of paper cannot slide between them. The Romans built incredible things. The Colosseum, the Pantheon, aqueducts that still carry water today. But the foundation at Baalbek, that is something else entirely. And the more closely engineers examine it, the more one disturbing question keeps surfacing. Did the Romans actually cut these stones? Or did they find them already shaped by something that should not have existed? The answer is worse than you think. Baalbek sits about 85 kilometers northeast of Beirut, in a valley inhabited for millennia. The Romans called it Heliopolis, the city of the sun, and transformed it into one of their most ambitious religious complexes. The Temple of Jupiter once featured 54 columns, each standing 22 meters tall. Today only 6 remain, but they rank among the tallest columns surviving from the Roman world. Classic Roman architecture everywhere you look. Corinthian capitals, detailed friezes, massive courtyards designed to inspire awe. For centuries, scholars attributed the entire site to Roman engineering. Construction began under Emperor Augustus around 15 BC. The historical record seemed clear. Roman achievement, case closed. But wait, the foundation supporting these temples uses a completely different construction technique than anything above it. While the Roman structures use standardized blocks that Roman engineering could handle, the foundation layer uses stones so massive they dwarf anything the Romans moved anywhere else in their vast empire. And now, for the first time, we know it is not just the size that is impossible, it is the cuts themselves. In a study that has sent shockwaves through the archaeological community, a team of engineers and geologists used high-resolution photogrammetric scanning and LiDAR mapping on the Trilithon blocks, the 3 enormous megaliths forming part of the western retaining wall beneath the Temple of Jupiter. Each block measures approximately 19 meters long, 4.2 meters high, and 3.6 meters deep. The weight, around 800 to 1,000 tons each. But the team was not there to measure size. They were there to steady the surfaces. And what the scans revealed made the room go silent. Think about that for a second. When you chisel limestone, you leave microfractures, tiny stress lines radiating outward from every point of impact. That is basic physics. It does not matter how skilled the craftsman. Contact between tool and stone always leaves a signature. Always. The 3D scans of the Trilithon surfaces showed none. Not reduced fracturing, not manufacturing, none. The surface topology across entire faces of these 800-ton blocks was smoother than what modern diamond-tipped cutting equipment produces on freshly quarried limestone today. The geometry was not approximately flat. It was mathematically flat, within tolerances that modern CNC machining would be proud of. Someone checked the calibration. Someone else ran the scan again. The results were identical. So here is the deal with the Trilithon. 3 enormous stone blocks, each one heavier than the largest mobile crane on Earth can lift under optimal conditions, positioned 7 meters above ground level, fitted together with joints so tight you cannot insert a piece of paper between them. And now we know their surfaces were finished to a standard that requires, at minimum, sustained contact cutting with a material harder than limestone, moving in perfectly controlled straight lines, applying consistent pressure across distances of 19 meters without deviation. No chisel does that. No handsaw does that. No ancient abrasive technique does that. Not once. Not across an entire face. Not on 3 separate blocks with matching surface characteristics. The largest stones in the Great Pyramid of Egypt weigh about 80 tons. The Trilithon blocks are 10 times heavier. The famous stones at Stonehenge weigh roughly 25 tons. The Trilithon makes them look like toys, but the size was always the headline. The scans just told us the size was never the real story. This is where things get uncomfortable. The research team did not stop at the Trilithon. They extended the scan array to the Stone of the Pregnant Woman, a 1,000-ton megalith abandoned in an ancient quarry 800 meters from the temple site. Beneath it, ground-penetrating radar had already revealed an even larger block, estimated at 1,250 tons. The 3D scans of the pregnant woman's exposed surfaces confirmed the same signature, the same molecular-level smoothness, the same absence of tool marks, the same impossible geometric precision. Whatever cut the Trilithon also cut this stone. Whatever cut this stone was operating in the quarry, 800 meters away, cutting blocks that were never even delivered. And then it stopped. Someone cut these stones. Someone shaped them with extraordinary precision that exceeds our best modern hand tools. Someone abandoned them. What scared them away? Here is where it gets disturbing. The Romans were obsessed with documenting their achievements. They carved inscriptions everywhere. They wrote detailed histories. They made absolutely certain everyone knew who built what and when. We know the Colosseum was commissioned by Vespasian and completed by Titus in 80 AD. We know the Pantheon was rebuilt by Hadrian around 126 AD. Roman engineering pride was legendary. So where are the records for the Baalbek Foundation? No records. No inscriptions. Nothing. There are Roman inscriptions at Baalbek, but they reference only the temples above, never the foundation platform. No emperor takes credit for cutting the Trilithon. No engineer's name appears anywhere. No contemporary historian mentions shaping stones weighing 1,000 tons to tolerances that would impress a modern machinist. Pliny the Elder wrote extensively about Roman engineering marvels. Vitruvius documented construction techniques in minute detail. Neither mentions Baalbek's megaliths. This silence should terrify you, because Romans bragged about everything. If they had possessed a cutting technology capable of producing these surfaces, they would have used it everywhere. They would have advertised it. They would have carved its inventor's name into every public building in Rome. What we do find are later Roman additions to the site. Smaller stones, conventional techniques, typical architectural elements. Tool marks exactly where you expect them. Roman chisel signatures, pick patterns, the characteristic roughness of hand-dressed stone. It looks exactly like the Romans found a pre-existing platform with pre-cut stones of impossible precision and built their temples on top of it, adding their signature style to upper structures while leaving the megalithic foundation completely untouched. Think about that for a second. What if the Romans did not cut these stones at all? What if they inherited them? Archaeological evidence confirms human habitation at Baalbek dating back at least 9,000 years, 7,000 years before the Romans arrived. The site was sacred long before Jupiter got his temple. Phoenicians called it Baalbek, the city of Baal. Greeks associated it with sun worship and named it Heliopolis. But none of these known cultures, Phoenician, Canaanite, Greek, possessed a cutting technology capable of producing the surfaces the scans just documented. So who did? Modern technology has now revealed details earlier archaeologists could not have imagined. The 3D scan data shows something even more unsettling when analyzed holistically. The flat faces of the Trilithon stones are not just smooth. They are geometrically matched to each other. The contact surfaces between adjacent blocks show complementary profiles, meaning they were cut to fit each other specifically, not just cut flat and placed together. That requires either cutting both surfaces simultaneously or cutting one and then using it as a template for the other with measuring precision that ancient cultures had no instruments to achieve. Lebanon sits on a seismically active fault line. Multiple strong earthquakes have struck over millennia. The Roman columns above have toppled repeatedly. Only 6 of the original 54 remain standing. The megalithic foundation has not budged. Not a single massive stone has shifted or cracked. 2,000 years. Multiple major earthquakes. Nothing moves. And the 3D scans explain why. The contact surfaces are so perfectly mated that the blocks effectively behave as a single monolithic structure under seismic stress. You cannot engineer that by accident. You cannot achieve it with hand tools. You have to know exactly what you are doing, and you have to be able to cut to tolerances that should not have existed in the ancient world. Modern engineers have attempted to replicate the surface finish documented in the scans using period-appropriate technology. The consensus is unanimous. It cannot be done. Not with bronze chisels, not with copper saws and abrasive sand, not with any combination of tools the ancient world demonstrably possessed. The smoothness alone would require thousands of hours of hand polishing on a single face, and polishing leaves its own microscopic signature, a directional grain that the scans would detect. The scans show no such grain. The finish is not polished. It was cut that way from the first pass. You can visit Baalbek yourself. You can touch these stones with your own hands. You can measure them. You can see where they were quarried. You can stand beneath the Trilithon and feel genuinely small. Not from spiritual awe, but from the basic physics of what you are witnessing. Modern engineers, with all our technology, would struggle to replicate this feat. We could do it barely, using our most powerful mobile cranes, precision laser-guided cutting equipment, and months of planning with millions of dollars and resources. Someone achieved it thousands of years ago, with tools that should not have been capable of the task. And we now have the scan data to prove that the tools we think they used simply could not have done this. The Romans never attempted anything approaching this precision anywhere else in their empire. If they possessed a cutting technology capable of producing these surfaces, why not showcase it in Rome itself? Why not build every major temple on megalithic foundations cut to the same standard? Why stay completely silent about the greatest engineering achievement in human history, unless it was not their achievement at all? The greatest mystery at Baalbek is no longer how they moved the stones. The 3D scans just made that question secondary. The real mystery is what cut them. What technology produced surfaces smoother than our best modern hand tools, across blocks weighing 1,000 tons, in a quarry in ancient Lebanon, thousands of years before the civilization we credit with building this site even existed? What left no tool marks, no chisel signatures, no abrasive grain? And why does the same impossible signature appear on stones that were never even delivered? Stones that were cut, then abandoned, sitting in a quarry 800 meters away, as if the project was stopped mid-sentence. So here is the question nobody wants to answer. If no known ancient culture possessed cutting technology capable of producing these surfaces, who did? What civilization had this knowledge? And why did they vanish before finishing those massive stones abandoned in the quarry? Let me know what you think in the comments below. If this mystery deserves more investigation, smash that like button and subscribe because we are just getting started.